Imagine walking into court and hearing that the man standing accused was not someone police had been chasing. He was one of them. A Garda. A man whose job had been to enforce the law. But on a Wednesday morning in Dublin, he entered court facing an allegation so serious that even his name could not be published. Prosecutors say he solicited another person to murder 4 people. Not 4 strangers. A woman, a girl, and 2 boys. And according to the charges, this was not something alleged to have happened recently. The alleged events date back to August of 2021. For years, the public knew nothing about it. Then, in August of 2026, the case suddenly appeared before the courts. And what investigators allege happened raises one enormous question. How did a serving member of the Garda end up facing charges like these? The officer had been serving in the Dublin area. But by the time he appeared before Dublin District Court, he had already been suspended from duty. His identity is protected by a court order. The woman cannot be identified. The girl cannot be identified. The 2 boys cannot be identified. Even details that could indirectly reveal who they are have to be treated carefully. That means this is one of those cases where some of the biggest questions cannot yet be answered publicly. But what has been revealed is extraordinary enough. The Garda faces 4 separate charges relating to allegations that, during August of 2021, he solicited an unknown person to murder the woman and the 3 children. Think about those words carefully. An unknown person. That detail alone leaves a huge empty space in the story. Who was that person? How did investigators allegedly discover what had happened? Was there a conversation? A message? A meeting? Was anyone ever in immediate danger? None of those answers have been established publicly in the court reporting available so far. And that is important, because this case is only beginning. What we do know is that the investigation was not handled as an ordinary criminal investigation involving someone outside the force. It was investigated by the Garda Anti-Corruption Unit. That unit investigates suspected wrongdoing involving members of the police service itself. The officer was eventually arrested at Kevin Street Garda Station in Dublin. He was charged and cautioned there. According to evidence given in court, he made no reply to the charges. But the murder solicitation allegations were not the only matter placed before the judge. There was a 5th charge, and this one concerned the same woman involved in the other allegations. Prosecutors allege that sometime between February of 2019 and July of 2019 and July of 2020, the Garda dishonestly attempted, through deception, to cause financial loss to the woman. The allegation is that he tried to induce her not to seek financial support for a child. Again, that is an allegation. The exact wider circumstances behind it have not yet been established publicly. But look at the timeline. The alleged financial matter begins years before the alleged murder solicitation. Then, according to the prosecution case, something far more serious is alleged to have happened in August of 2021. 4 alleged targets, 1 woman, 3 children, and an unknown person who was allegedly solicited to kill them. Then years pass, until the officer is finally brought before court. That gap is one of the most intriguing parts of this story. Because right now, the public does not know what happened during those years. We do not know when the Garda Anti-Corruption Unit first became aware of the allegations. We do not know what evidence caused investigators to focus on this officer. We do not know what allegedly connected the unknown person to the Garda. And we do not know why charges were brought when they were. Those answers may eventually emerge as the case moves deeper into the court system. At his first appearance, there was no objection to bail. The court released him on a bond of €300. Reporting restrictions were imposed by Judge Dirac McCarthy, Those restrictions mean that the Garda cannot be identified, his address cannot be published, and the identities of the alleged victims are protected. The case is expected to move to the Central Criminal Court. There, a book of evidence is due to be served when he appears again in September. And that could be when the public begins to understand more about how investigators say this alleged plot was discovered. Because right now, we have the charges. We have the dates. We have the number of alleged targets. But we do not yet have the full story behind them. And perhaps the most disturbing element is not what has been revealed. It is how much remains hidden. A Garda officer. An internal anti-corruption investigation. 4 alleged murder targets. An unknown person allegedly approached to carry it out. And allegations dating back years before the case ever reached the public. There is also something else worth remembering. Cases involving police officers carry an additional weight. Not because an officer is automatically guilty when accused. He is not. But because police officers are trusted with powers ordinary members of the public do not have. They enter homes. They investigate crimes. They handle sensitive information. They arrest suspects. They are expected to protect people who are vulnerable. So was history. When one of those officers enters a courtroom as the accused rather than the investigator, people pay attention. But attention must not become assumption. The Garda, in this case, has been charged. He has not been convicted. The allegations have not yet been proven in court. No court has determined that he committed any of the offenses alleged against him. That distinction matters. And until evidence is presented, there are questions we simply cannot answer. What exactly does the prosecution allege happened in August of 2021? Who was the unknown person? How did investigators learn about the alleged solicitation? What evidence will appear in the book of evidence? And why did a case involving allegations from years earlier emerge publicly only now? Those are questions for the investigation and, ultimately, the courts. For now, what Ireland is left with is a case almost impossible to ignore. A suspended Garda. 4 alleged targets. 3 of them children. An anti-corruption investigation from inside the police service. And a criminal case that has only just begun revealing its secrets. The next court appearance could tell us much more. Until then, the most important part of the story remains the part we still cannot see.